I'd like to start my questioning of Arminio about Brazil, of course. It's good to bring the South into this discussion, which has mainly been North-North so far. And I'd like to do it, though, with a little history that relates to your service. So, as you know, Arminio became governor of the Central Bank of Brazil in 1999. He came from working with George Soros. And it was not that great a period at that point, because emerging markets were just reeling off crises. And what I liked about Arminio, he instantly talked about policy and really what Brazil needed to do. And there was this phrase which we keep repeating around here. It was time to turn macro chaos into some decent macro controls, monetary and fiscal, but at the same time turn these micro controls, government controls, into more micro chaos. I thought it was amazing, and this is partly based on our association when I was in the Treasury. Got together a program, the IMF, to insulate Brazil from this mess that was coming from Argentina, very successfully, for which there was a headline in Newsweek, "The Nerd Who Saved Brazil." But Arminio, it's not so good right now. Things in Brazil are sort of turning away from what I thought was a good story. So I'd like to begin by asking you about that.
Those 4 years were exciting. There's a lot going on, and yes, I think things look good after the initial kind of macro sort of stabilization effort. And so it's to Lula's eternal credit that he pretty much threw away his party program, picked up some good people to run the economy for him, including quite a few that were with us. And the trouble is, sort of halfway into it, he kind of gave up on these policies that are kind of boring, you know, the kind of thing that that John and I like. And you know, that's sort of where we are. So we're back in a way to sort of macro, I wouldn't say chaos, but you know, have 8% inflation and micro frustration. We've had very little investment. So Brazil, for a developing country, invests 17–18% of GDP. It should be investing a lot more. It doesn't invest well. During Dilma's first term, pretty much all the growth in credit is in the balance sheets of these government banks, etc. Now, so all of that is pretty bad. And then more recently, it got worse. We started to see problems on the energy front. Largely, the proximate cause is a big drought. But the deeper cause is the fact that she pretty much ruined this sector, and there's no predictability. The rules are not very good. There hasn't been enough investments. And then, last but not least, this massive corruption scandal, because all these distortions that I mentioned are all kind of a product of rent-seeking, if you want to be polite, but you know, it's really all kinds of nasty things are now popping up, and this is being investigated. And we're going into a recession. With the terms of trade and the productivity problems, it spills over all over the place. We're running a large current account deficit, and I think unfortunately it's looking pretty bad at this point.